Christopher, thanks for your time today.
Great.
Every great airline in the world has a flagship lounge, and you've just joined that really elite club of the very few that have something special.
Yeah, it is really special. I mean, Auckland's the home of Air New Zealand, and it's really important we have a flagship lounge here. So as part of, as the company's been doing better over the last 4 years, and we've been in profitable growth mode, what we're wanting to do is invest back in the customer proposition very strongly. And so, we're spending $2.6 billion on new aircraft over the next 4 years. We're spending $100 million in the next 3 to 4 years on new lounges. This is a big part of that. It comes off the back of a big investment in Los Angeles with the Star Alliance Lounge, which Air New Zealand runs and operates on behalf of Star. It comes on the back of our big investment in Sydney as well, and then obviously here in Auckland, and then some regional lounges. We hope to get to Brisbane very, very quickly, and obviously Queenstown pretty soon in the next wee while as well. So it's really quite exciting for us to big day today.
And probably the key word for you would be innovation, wouldn't it? You've been innovating consistently over the last 5 or 6 years, and this is probably the latest of the innovations.
Yeah, I mean, innovation plays a critical role for us because we think there are so many parts of the customer journey, which is actually, when you think about when you book a ticket to when you actually do the trip and get back home again, it's quite a long, drawn-out process. And along that journey, there's lots of pain points for customers. And so how do we actually use innovation to solve those pain points, whether it's queuing through the way we use our apps and our technology, whether it's simple things like being able to order your coffee off your app, just to speed you through that process and to get you that little bit of extra time you want when you're a busy person moving between Sydney and Auckland. Having 2 great lounges to refresh and recharge in, and a great new set of fleet of aircraft coming on board, that's fantastic. And
great results from the transformation program that you've been doing in the last few years.
Yeah, it's been a really fun last 3 or 4 years. We've just really focused on, saying we've always been a really good company. We want to be a truly great and world-class organisation, and so we are learning from lots of other industries and lots of other businesses as well. So, we're learning a lot around customer service from hospitality brands, from theme park brands. We've been learning a lot about market development and how we build our business through fast-moving consumer goods companies and how they go into markets and build markets. A lot of our operations are coming out of the manufacturing industry with lots of continuous improvement techniques. So we look outside the aviation industry, to be honest, to say what lessons can we apply from other businesses back into this world. And we have to think a little bit different at Air New Zealand because, a country of 4 million people, actually at the end of the world, shouldn't really, there's not that many 4 million people countries on earth that even have an airline in this day and age, and we're not just surviving, we're absolutely thriving. And as I said, we've got this ambition of moving from just being really good to being truly great and world class. And so, that for us is 3 things that we've got to do at the same time. We've got to deliver superior commercial results and continue to invest in the customer, and continue to build out people and the culture of our organisation internally as well. So as we've been doing better financially, we're just ploughing those profits straight back in to strengthen the customer proposition and our culture as well.
I mean, you've got things like the biggest mattress toppers and pillows of any cabin, I think, almost in the sky at the moment. You've got great New Zealand wine on board, great food, amazing service, and beautiful new aircraft. And but there is a bit of a challenge, isn't there? I mean, Australasia's blessed to have probably 3 of the best airlines on the planet. Does that make it a lot more challenging to win the business traveller and the leisure traveller over?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, we're really well blessed and well served by some really fantastic airlines in this part of the world, and I think you've only got to go spend time in other parts of the world to really appreciate and value that. But no, I mean, for us, this is what this is really about. I mean, we're very conscious that we'll have a lot of Australians that actually are coming through to New Zealand to connect into North or South America. In December, we open up new routes into Buenos Aires and into Houston. That obviously is about attracting travellers from Latin America and North America to New Zealand and Australia, but obviously also about getting Australians and New Zealanders through up into those regions as well. So having really good lounges, being able to have really good in-flight product, having at both ends of that route is really important. We're after high-value leisure travellers. That's what Air New Zealand's all about, is a leisure travel airline. And so a lot of it is actually making sure we've got the proposition right for those customers.
You've got another new aircraft coming soon, A321s. Any insight on that? Would you be putting business class on them, Trans-Tasman? Anything you can reveal?
Yeah, so where we've really focused on is we've now got rid of all our 747s. We've finished with our 737s as well, and we're all in a 777 and 787-9 configuration for our wide-bodied aircraft. The 787-9 has been a superb aircraft for us. It's gone incredibly well. We'll have 6 of them by Christmas time on our way to a fleet of 12. And then likewise on our short-haul network, what we've moved is to all A320s within domestic New Zealand, and we'll be starting up the new A321neos, which will be used to fly into Australia and into the Pacific Islands. We're just working through now actually what is the right layout and configuration of those aircraft to meet the market. And I think that's what we try and spend a lot of time doing, is understanding the customer and actually thinking what does the customer want versus what our management might think they want. And I think that's been one of our real success and strengths, is understanding in the trans-Tasman world. There's 1.3 million Australians coming to New Zealand every year, similar number of New Zealanders going to Australia every year, and a lot of those customers are meeting with family and friends, and there's a whole range of people who are business guys going across for the day to do work in Sydney, likewise people saving up enough money to go to SeaWorld and having a great family holiday as well. And within the one tube of the aircraft, we can meet all those needs in terms of the pricing, product and service architecture that we put together.
And your market in the Americas is going to grow with 2 new destinations. The Kiwi dollar is slid a little bit, but that's not bad for inbound tourism, is it?
Yeah, we sort of don't. We think in the aviation industry there's an awful lot of excuses for poor performance, to be honest, and a lot of people blame uncontrollables of foreign exchange, fuel, natural disasters, competition for why, as an airline CEO, I haven't done well this year. And we are of the view that's just our reality, and we have to respond to those circumstances better than anybody else. So whether we've had high fuel or high foreign exchange, low fuel, low foreign exchange, we've had record results in the last 4 years in that period of time. So, but you are right. I mean, what we've discovered in America is there's 30 million Americans that say they want to come to New Zealand. It's on their bucket list. Last year we had an 11% increase in US visitors to 250,000. So there's an awful lot more to go to get them here. It'd be a shame if they don't come here before they die and see Middle Earth and everything that's here. So, that's but one of the biggest triggers and barriers for both for Americans coming to Australia or New Zealand, and about 60 to 70% of them see both countries at the same time, is really this perception of distance. And so you go and interview Chuck and Mary in Iowa going on their first world trip, they think it's 41 hours to get to this part of the world. And so we have to really get them to understand it's much closer than they think. And so that's the barrier we're overcoming, because that's what makes them choose Thailand or Austria or Mexico or another destination on their bucket list ahead of New Zealand or Australia. So that's very much what we're doing. That's why Houston's so important, because it puts us in the 4th biggest city, bang smack in the middle of America, 1 or 2 hour commutes to Chicago, New York, the South, and into Florida, in order to be able to then make a trip overnight. Some great food, Kiwi food and wine, great sleep, wake up in Middle Earth in the morning.
And how important has the investment had to be to be at the forefront of the game? You've invested a lot in this lounge. Your on-board investment's been significant.
Yeah.
How important is that going forward, even when times do get a bit tough, in making sure you've got the best product in the market?
Yeah, and that's why you've got to get the economic engine right, and that's what we've spent a lot of time realigning the business over the last 4 years. We have essentially all our routes are profitable, and it's very important that they are, because that gives us the ability and the fuel to actually make the investments in new aircraft. When you typically want to get a new turboprop aircraft in New Zealand, it's $25 million. A new narrow-bodied aircraft can be $40 to $50 million US dollars. A new Dreamliner, $150 million. So they're big. It's a capital-intensive industry, and so our customers may say, "I'd really like a new lounge," and you're going, "Well, we'd love to give you one too, but we've got to have the economics to be able to support that investment." And that's what we've worked really hard at in the last 4 years. Is that now that we've got the commercial results and the engine working in the way we want it to work, we can actually make these investments. So it's pretty profound. We spent $1 billion in capital last year, $800 million on new aircraft. We're going to spend $2.7 billion in another 4 years, spending $100 million on these on lounges. The new lounge in Sydney is about a $14 million sort of investment. This is $14-15 million here in Auckland as well. So they're big investments, but they're actually about making sure that the business we have today will not be competitive for 5 or 10 years' time. The business we had 5 or 10 years ago wouldn't be competitive today. So it's about saying we've got to move to new strategic curves and investments to be able to strengthen the business up for the future and future-proof it.
And a big year for you, 75th anniversary, and you look at it, it's one of the world's greatest airlines. And when someone talks to you and says, "Oh, what's the best thing that's happened in Air New Zealand in 75 years?" What jumps out at you?
Yeah, it's just been such a story of incredible highs and incredible lows and setbacks and great triumphs as well over that period of time. But it was awesome to celebrate 75 years. I go and speak at a lot of our retiree functions. And just last week we had 70 of our staff celebrating 40 years of service with Air New Zealand, and just hearing the history of this organisation, which is so tied to the fabric of New Zealand. Our view is that the success of Air New Zealand is very tied to the success of New Zealand, and likewise New Zealand is very dependent on a successful Air New Zealand too, because it's reliant on us to bring 40% of those tourists, which is our second biggest industry in this country, to New Zealand. It's reliant on us to get those exporters with high value products in the belly of our aircraft to those foreign markets across the Pacific Rim. So we know that's been really quite exciting, just celebrating the 75th, to be honest. We had almost just under 400,000 people come to our national exhibition at the National Museum in New Zealand here in Wellington at Te Papa. And that's just a testament to why the emotional attachment that people feel to the airline. It's the number one corporate reputation in the country. It's the number one place people want to work in New Zealand. Believe it or not, we're number 5 in corporate reputation in the top 60 corporates in Australia, and we've got New Zealand in the name, so that's quite something. So we are really proud about what we've achieved. We're also very thankful and very grateful for all the support we get from our partners, our stakeholders, and a lot of the public and our visitors as well. So the trick is we want to win in the marketplace, and we want to have a lot of fun along the way, and that's the kind of spirit that we have within the organisation.